Hello! Welcome back to another J-Fashion Mythbusters video where we bust some myths about J-Fashion. Yes, anyways, today we are going to be talking all about Jirai Kei. I first found out about this fashion on Twitter. There are a lot of Japanese people who use Twitter, and a lot of the things that they post are usually in Japanese. It's sort of hard to find out more about the style. There aren't really a lot of articles that are in English, and I just kind of want to learn more about it since it's a pretty brand new thing. But I just really love learning more about other styles. So I reached out to two people who wear Jirai Kei, and we're gonna sit down and talk about the history, the differences between other styles that it's compared to, and advice. So if you're interested in getting into Jirai Kei, we will also be talking about that. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video. Hi, hello. So if the both of you could give me a quick introduction about yourselves, how you found out about J fashion and your style, and kind of how long you've both been wearing your styles for. So whoever wants to go first, feel free to go ahead.
You can go first.
Okay. Hi, my name is Jessie. I have been wearing Jirai fashion since about late 2019. But I wore Larm before that. So the pink and black has been in my aesthetic for a very long time. I've been living in Japan for almost 3 years now. And I also used to wear Lolita and Gyaru. I've been around.
Hi, my name's Kiara, and I've been wearing J fashion for a very, very long time since I was in high school, and I experimented with a lot of different fashions like Lolita, Gyaru, and Jirai Kei, and all that. And I started wearing Jirai in, I guess, around 2020, very, very late 2019, early 2020. Actually, I think I got into the style before I knew it was a style. I just was very drawn towards that very cute but a little bit dark aesthetic. So around that time as well, late 2019, early 2020.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to meet both of you. What we are going to be talking about today is Jirai. And do you call it Jirai or Jirai Kei or Jirai fashion? What's the right term for it? And what is it exactly?
In Japan, it's often referred to as Jirai joshi, which means Jirai girl. But Jirai Kei is also used as a popular hashtag. Jirai fashion is also okay. All of them are kind of okay, I think.
Yeah, same. I use Jirai Kei when I use hashtags, and just Jirai when I talk about, or Jirai jo when I'm talking about myself or the clothes I wear.
Okay. So this whole Jirai Kei thing, is it more of a trend or an established fashion or more of a lifestyle? Do people interested in this whole culture, do they surround themselves with things that embody this sort of thing? What is it exactly?
I think it really depends on who you ask. The Jirai lifestyle is not a very popular one for many people. It's kind of dark. It's kind of sad. It's not, I wouldn't recommend the lifestyle per se to people. I think that the clothes and the aesthetic is very cute. I think that there are a lot of good points. It is a trend for some people. To some people, it is a fashion that they wear every day. And for other people, I think it is, in fact, a lifestyle. But we can talk about the lifestyle part later. I just wouldn't particularly recommend it to many people.
Yeah, I think it's important to know when you're getting into this fashion, know what the lifestyle behind it is and what you may be associated to while wearing this fashion. For most people I've met, it is just clothes, but there are people who do follow that lifestyle, and it's important to know about that as well. But yeah, I agree that it really depends who you ask.
Got it. So let's go ahead and focus more on the fashion aspect of it. In a Jirai Kei outfit, what are the key elements that you usually see? I can already see with both of your outfits right now, with all the ruffles and the lace and then the twin tail hair and the kuromi in the background. So what are some key things you would see in a Jirai Kei outfit?
I think a lot of black and pink. That's the most basic colors that you would be following when you wear Jirai Kei, and a lot of I find having cooler tones usually as well. You have less gold incorporated and more like silver or gray, but gold is not usually the main focus or the like more accenty color and accessories. So it's going to be usually cool tones with like pinks and blacks. And within Jirai, there's more than one type. I find different brands that produce clothes have a different image. While they're still very similar to each other, using like lace and black and pink and like blouses with skirts. Usually they'll have like belts as well on the skirts. They all kind of have a different aesthetic depending which brand you're shopping from. So I think that's important to keep in mind as well.
I 100% agree. Jirai Kei also has like sub-styles within itself. Like there's the kind of subculture Jirai, which has been very popular, which is kind of more of a tomboy look. It's like shorts with like chains and kind of more inspired by like punk style, where like the kind of traditional Jirai Kei is a little bit more girly and feminine. I think that the main aspects, like she said, a lot of pink and black. It's not the only colors, but it's definitely the most popular and the most common. I think that a big focus on Jirai is actually the makeup, like having the kind of big eyes. I think that you can have like the makeup and just wear a big t-shirt and still be like a Jirai girl per se. The makeup started with like the whole like Pien kind of like this slang, which basically means like it's like the pleading emoji in Japanese. So it's the emoji that's like on the verge of tears, because that ties into the whole landmine thing. So I think that the heavy focus is on the makeup.
It's true. Makeup is a very big part of it, and it kind of ties everything together. So you could have someone who has more of that subculture K kind of look. And if they have like a Jirai makeup, then automatically you're like, okay, so that's a Jirai girl for sure.
It kind of reminds, oh, sorry.
I think we kind of almost said the same thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that like it reminds me of Gyaru. Like even with Gyaru, the makeup is a big part of it. You don't really have to wear like branded stuff, or even if it's just a t-shirt, like you said, it's the makeup that really like you're like, oh yeah, she's a gal, like she's a gal for sure. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of like Gyaru term or Gyaru elements that came into Jirai, like they're not the same at all, but it's the same concepts that kind of are there, like having really, really big eye makeup. A lot of them have really long nails. And I just, having been young before and coming here, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of things that I remember from when I was Gyaru that I can apply to here now.
Yeah, definitely. Me too. It's very also Jirai Kei is also a lot of like bling. Like it's very like she said, like a lot of silver and gold jewelry. Not gold so much, but definitely just a lot of sparkle everywhere. And Gyaru is also kind of like very flashy in your face, a lot of accessories.
Comparing Gyaru and Jirai Kei, there are other fashion styles that I have seen, like looking at Jirai Kei, that people have compared Jirai Kei to. So things like, okay, I don't know how to pronounce this exactly. Ryousangata. Ryousangata. Mass Production, Landmine Girl, Larm, and Menhera. So these all have sort of like similar things. And, you know, whenever you look it up, you'll see them mentioned together. So like, what are the differences between all of these things?
So landmine girl is a literal translation of the word jirai. So jirai joshi is girl, jirai is landmine. So it's a literal translation. So there's no difference style-wise between the two in that regard. It's just for, I think, for Instagram hashtags, one's in English, so it's easier to find Western creators compared to Japanese creators. Ryousangata is the same way. Ryousangata means mass production. And the style, that one comes from usually like idol culture and like Johnnies. This is what I heard the origin story is that girls would dress the same so that they could take pictures with their favorite idol and not be found out. So that's why a lot of things involve covering your face, wearing a face mask, or like putting a cute sticker over your face. It's literally so like you can't be found if you like take a picture with like your favorite idol or something. And so Ryousangata is also a literal translation of that, the mass production style. Menhera is Kind of just like a slang meaning, like kind of crazy. It's not a very good meaning in Japan at all.
It's funny because here in Korea, people refer to Jirai Kei style, like those who are not into it refer to it as Menhera style. But then those who are into it take like the literal translation of Jirai, and it's like Jirue in Korean, and they call it like Jirai Kei. And Ryousangata, they call it like Yangsanhyun, which is again literal translation of like mass production into Korean. But then people who are kind of into like Japanese stuff, but not necessarily into that style, I found out later, like they call it Menhera style because generally they associate people who wear that style to being a little bit like mentally unstable. So I found that very interesting when I came here. I had to explain to a few of my friends, like, no, it's not Menhera fashion, it's something else.
Well, I did do a video a while back with some people who were interested in like the Menhera fashion, like the whole culture. And it was really interesting to learn how it's more like a thing that has to do with like mental health and kind of like expressing that sort of thing. Let's kind of go back to the history of Jirai Kei and how it came about. Like, do you know if there's a certain year that it started, or was it around a certain time that it just became a thing? Or yeah.
Yes. So it evolved kind of from LARM. And around like I think it was 2018, LARM started incorporating a bit more like kind of punk-ish elements of like fishnet stockings and like a little bit of a more dark aesthetic. And then it just kind of evolved from there. And it started gaining super popularity around like 2020. It's kind of started in kabukicho, which is, I kind of consider this like an adult fashion because its origin is dark and it comes from like Japanese night culture. So it's kind of rare for Japan. A lot of like fashion styles I've worn in the past are very like associated with like very cute stuff, very like anime or, you know, kawaii culture, otaku culture. But like Jirai Kei came about from like kind of like the red light district. So it's a very interesting kind of origin for it, I think. I don't know.
Did you have anything to add on to that?
I think that's pretty much how it is. I did see some like darker elements in LARM fashion towards the end of like 2019. And then when I went to Japan in 2020, that's kind of where I really saw Jirai Kei becoming a thing. Like I would walk into Mars and it was all like Jirai Kei clothes. And I was like, oh, I like this. And I think that's really where it became more popular. And yeah, I agree. Kabukicho is really like the breeding ground of Jirai Kei, rather than it coming from Harajuku, like a lot of other J fashion movements that are popular overseas.
How were people's reactions to you being in or wearing Jirai Kei, especially for you, you know, just you live in Japan? What do people think about the whole culture?
It depends where you go. If you go to like Harajuku and Shibuya, it's more like, oh, it's a trend, it's a fashion, it's just cute because it's in 109 and it's everywhere. But if you go to Shinjuku, people immediately have a feeling you're going to a host club or you're going to start drinking, or it's like the reaction of where you go in Japan, I think, is very different. When I used to wear like more LARM or like more cutesy fashion, of course, like hosts or people would talk to you like catch guys. It was a really normal thing. But like ever since Jirai fashion started, it's like multiplied. Now it's like if you walk anywhere in Shinjuku, hosts are like, oh, like, come on. Because you're wearing this fashion that is like evolved from kabukicho. It was a nightlife style. And so that's kind of unfortunate, I think, that this style is now only kind of associated with that aspect, because now it's such a big fashion trend that I see like really young girls wearing it, like junior high school girls and stuff. But originally it was like 20-year-olds who like worked in like con cafes, like concept cafes or bars, girls bars or something. So it started as more adult fashion, but became more popular with like younger girls. So like I just want people to like be aware of that, and that if you come to specifically Shinjuku, you may get more attention than you would like. However, if you are in like Harajuku, Shibuya, or other places, you're probably just going to be associated with like, that's what's popular right now.
Because I do see it a lot on like TikTok. Like it shows up on my For You page. These people in Japan like wearing Jirai Kei, and I'm like, oh, like, you know, it's really popular now. I see a lot of people wearing it. But it never, when I would see it, I never thought in my head that it was something that was born out of nightlife. Like I was just like, oh, it's so cute, you know, like, you know, you never really think of that immediately. But yeah, I guess that was a misconception that I had. But for you, are there any other misconceptions or misinformation about Jirai Kei that you kind of want to like correct, I guess? Or yeah.
In my case, I think this might be the most like controversial part of the fashion. And it really has to do with the makeup itself. Like my main platform is on TikTok, and I do a lot of makeup tutorials and like small videos talking about Jirai Kei. And most of the misconception that people have with the makeup is regarding Asian, like Asian baiting, Asian fishing, or East Asian baiting, I think is what they call it now. But that's the most like misconception people seem to have, because TikTok's algorithm, it doesn't always put your video necessarily in the algorithm that you should be in. Sometimes it pushes it to a different one. So you'll have people who are not into J fashion and who don't understand that certain J fashions have specific makeup styles. And when they look at Jirai Kei, because you have to like, usually in Jirai Kei, you have like a bottom line that kind of pulls down your eye to make it look like your eyes are like this and crying. I feel a lot of people who see it without realizing what it is right off the bat will see that and say like, oh, you're pretending to be Asian, you shouldn't do that. And you have to explain to people like, no, it's not Asian baiting. It's creating a very, very droopy eye to make it look like you've just cried, rather than making a more slanted eye look. So that's a big misconception on my side that I've had to deal with a lot.
I think aside from what I said earlier about it being like associated with nightlife, I do think that that is a misconception. I think that another misconception is that it's expensive, because a lot of like the people that you see on at least like Instagram, they have like Gucci bags, the MCM bag, which is incredibly popular in the style. You see like Justin Davis jewelry, Vivienne Westwood jewelry, and like more high brands, Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci purses, everything like that. But as I said earlier, it's because it's associated with nightlife. Those kind of girls have money. A lot of like normal girls who are like, Mom, I see this style in 109. I really want to wear it. They're wearing like, you know, completely normal brand clothes. You know, the backpack that they're wearing maybe costs like $40 or something. It's not like, it doesn't have to be expensive. It's just Instagram makes it look expensive because it's a lot of influencers who are promoting it. Influencers get stuff for free. They get money to go to special places. They, you know, idols get gifted those kinds of things. So in reality, it's not as expensive as people think because they see all this stuff on Instagram that makes it look expensive. You can do it for cheap, and there's a lot of really good cheap brands out there.
Yeah, that's very true. I never knew if it's because I came like from Lolita before, and Lolita is actually really expensive.
Yeah, definitely. Me too.
But I find Jirai is, if you compare the prices to like actual like normal people clothing stores, I find that it's the same price for most brands. Like Mars, the blouse is like 30,000 won, so 3,000 yen, approximately 4,000 yen. So that's really not that expensive. And it's just, for me, when I was living in Canada, that was the expensive part. Getting the shipping to Canada was more expensive than the clothing itself. But if you live in a place where you're able to get Japanese brand clothing easily, or if you're in Japan, it's a very affordable fashion to wear.
And it's really easy to like thrift and stuff too. It's like if you got like a cute white blouse and a cute black skirt, and then you just like DIY'd a little ribbon here, you would have a Jirai outfit. Just put the makeup on.
I find also it's a very trend forward fashion, since it is a fashion that is very new, only since the last 2-ish years. So because it's very trend forward, and I feel like people are still trying to build within the style, things are very seasonal, and people tend to buy something, wear it once or twice, and then sell it. So if you have access to like Mercari, definitely you can find very, very, very affordable secondhand pieces there, since people recycle this fashion very quickly.
Can anyone wear Jirai Kei? Would you say it's like accessible and anybody can wear it?
I would definitely.
Oh, go ahead.
Go.
I think, thank you. When it comes to Jirai Kei, for most brands, it is very size restrictive, and I think that's important to note. So there are some plus size friendly brands, but it's very, very limited in terms of that. So I think if you want to get into Jidaik, it's important to note that it is very size restrictive. Like even for me, I don't think I'm plus size at all, but because I'm like really tall and I have a like wide shoulder build, it's really hard for me to buy clothes because a lot of times shoulders are made very small. So it's sort of important to note that. And if you're going to get into this fashion, things are made very small for most brands. So that's something that I find is important to know. And sometimes it can be a little bit uncomfortable. So if people have like comfort issues, things can be like you're wearing a lot of jewelry and stuff. So it can be a little uncomfortable. So if that's something that bothers people, maybe stick to something more like subculture Jidaik, where it's baggy t-shirts and just being cute. But other than that, I think anybody can get into this style.
I agree. I think that clothing, like sizes and stuff, as in most Japanese fashions, is still not the best in size. Like I have issues with shorts because got a little bit of junk in the trunk compared to other Japanese girls. So that's kind of sad and something to consider. There are brands that are starting to, I think, cater to bigger sizes, which is wonderful and awesome. A good thing I do want to note about Jirai Kei, as we mentioned, there are a few sub styles. Like there is the subculture Jirai, which is a little bit more baggy, a little bit more tomboy, a little bit more punk. So if that's your style, then there's a Jirai style for you. Also, there's also the Jirai danshi, which is the boy style. So if you are a boy that is interested in this fashion, or a girl that wants to dress that way, or if you're non-binary and you think that having a kind of androgynous look is good for you, there's also that. So I think that it's a very good aesthetic as far as anyone can wear it. Like as far as what you're into goes, sizes is difficult, but as far as what kind of person you want to be, there is something in Jirai there for you, I think. Also, if you're more girly and the color black is scary or daunting to you, there's a Ryousangata.
It's so funny because my friend here, she's not at all into like the color black. So she wears very, very cute Ryousangata fashion. And then I prefer wearing black just because my hair is pink and it looks better. Mm-hmm. So it's very fun that we both enjoy the same kind of trends, but we're completely different one from the next. So it's very fun that Jirai is there's so many sub-styles to it.
Like do you know how many different sub-styles there are in this whole like Jirai Kei thing?
Kind of. So there's like the traditional Jirai, which is what her and I are wearing today, just kind of like black and frilly, a little bit punk. And then there's like the subculture Jirai, which is very punk, very tomboy. There's Jirai danshi, the boy style. There is the Ryousangata style. And then there's like this one that's like blue and white. I don't really know how to like pinpoint that.
It's so pretty. I don't know the name for it, but it's so pretty.
I've heard some girls say it was like angel something, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna like wait till it gets a little bit more momentum before like tagging a name on it, because I don't want to spread misinformation or anything like that. But it's like blue and white, and like sometimes it's kind of more subculture-y. Sometimes it's like, I don't know. It's very cute though. It kind of looks cyber-ish.
I've also heard it, like some people calling it Pien Pien Kei or like Pien joshi, but I'm not sure if it's an actual substyle or if it's just another name that people have for jirai.
Here, at least, it's just another name because it comes from the makeup, looking like the pleading emoji. So in Japan, the pleading emoji is called like Pien. So it just means like you're like,
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure what Pien mean. I actually I was about to ask that. Like, so it's just like an emoji, like
yeah, it's an
when you
emoji
say,
and kind of a slang. So like example, like my phone broke, Pien, or something like that. So it kind of means like
It's
boo
an
hoo
emoji with
or
really
poor
wide
me.
eyes that's kind of pleading and like.
Oh.
Let me see if I can just pull one up on Google real fast. Pien.
The other day I was walking and I saw a kuromi in a store that she had the like Pien eyes. So I was like, oh my god, I need to go back and
I
buy
know
her.
what you're talking about. Yeah, they have that whole series, Sanrio. They had like all the different characters with the Pien, like the little like eyes, and they're all sad.
Yeah, she's so cute. Actually, today I think I'm gonna go back to the store and buy her.
Yes.
So Kuromi is gonna have a friend.
Aww.
Like Pien mainly came from like I think like guys are like, oh, that's just a Pien girl. So I think it was mainly like men kind of saying it, and then girls are like, oh my god, yeah, Pien.
I feel like that's a very common thing in Jirai as well, because the name Jirai also came from men being like, ugh, that girl is Jirai, and then girls were like, okay.
Yeah, they're like, that's me.
Yeah, go off, I guess.
I love that.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It was like, oh, you should be careful from her. That's a Jirai girl. Or, oh, she's always like Pien Pien. It's like, yeah, that's cool. It's fine.
Exactly. Stay away if you don't like me.
You were saying, Jessie, about how men would call women jirai, but like, what does that mean though if they call someone that?
Basically, a whole like aura or like idea about Jirai is that they're kind of mentally unstable. And like Jirai literally means landmine. Like you step on it and it explodes.
Oh, okay.
So men were saying that the women who were, I guess, wearing this were pretty much like could go off at any minute or were like easily triggered, so to speak. So a lot of like fights or maybe just like crying, that sort of thing. Like we're very emotionally weak. Is that the no?
No, we're not.
I can't find my word. Like we're easily triggered, I guess is the best way to say it.
That makes a lot of sense because whenever I see things about Jirai and then I would see Landmine Girl, then I would see like Mass Production Girl. Now it all makes sense. Like you were saying about like the idol thing. That's why mass production is involved. And then with the whole landmine thing, that's why. Okay, so everything is like clicking in my head and it's all starting to make sense. So I'm glad we are having this conversation. We're not at the end yet, but I just want to say thank you to the both of you for chatting with me and hanging out with me and like explaining all these things because I really love learning about all of these different styles and especially this like new thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun.
But going back to Jirai, what are some popular brands or do the both of you have any suggestions for brands that people can like buy clothes to wear for Jirai?
If you're starting into it and you just want to try, I would suggest going with Dear My Love. They're very size friendly. They have up to like 6L, I think. They are very, very, very inexpensive and they have a very wide variety of things. They cater both to like the classic Jirai as well as Ryousangata. And they even have some more like less fancy clothes. It's more like romantic style. So if you end up not liking Jirai, you can always stay with them to go towards a more like romantic French aesthetic style. But I find they're a good brand to really dip your toe into Jirai, and I like the fact that they're very size friendly.
I would also recommend for as far as cheaper brands go, Mars. Mars is really good. They always have the same sale. It's you buy 2 items and it's 5,900 yen, so about like $60. So that's 3,000 yen for one thing and 3,000 yen for the other thing. And it includes most blouses and most skirts. So, or like shorts or whatever bottoms, and then a top, or you can get 2 tops or 2 bottoms. So it's really easy to like mix and match. Recently, I'm really into Rojita, which is what I'm wearing today. My whole outfit is Rojita. Wait. I love Rojita.
Nice. So other than clothing brands, do both of you have any advice, suggestions for people who want to start getting into Jirai Kei? Just getting into it, like how do they also like find other people who are interested in this style too?
I don't know about in Japan, but I find online Jirai girls usually seem to be by themselves, especially in other countries. They're usually either by themselves or like with one other friend, and it seems like a very lonely fashion outside of Japan. In Japan, like on TikTok, I see they usually hang out in groups, but it seems to be a little bit more of a lonely fashion outside. The people that I've met is usually through Instagram and like on hashtags and things. Like when I'm bored and I have nothing to do, sometimes I look on hashtags and I try to find people that I find look really like interesting and that I like their style. And I don't know, that's how I met most other Jirai girls I know. But yeah, that's how I did it. But I don't know if that's how people usually should be finding other friends.
I agree. I think that if you live especially overseas, hashtags is the best way to find anything. But either if you're in the West, I'd recommend probably using the landmine girl hashtag. It's a bit easier, I think, for finding like Western girls. If you live in Japan, then using the Jirai Kei or Jirai joshi hashtag is probably better. Actually, as she said, a lot of Jirai girls do hang out in groups in Japan because there's a lot more of us. But not just because there's a lot more of us, but especially, like I said, in Kabukicho, this was really interesting for me the first time. But I went to just go like take pictures by, there was a poster of kind of one of the Jirai icons, I guess, in a manga. Her name is Yua, and she's a really popular, I guess, like Jirai character, and like her whole personality is Jirai. She lives the Jirai lifestyle, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And by that poster, there was a whole bunch of people like just drinking and partying in the street. Again, like I said, adult fashion. And so they were just having fun and partying. It was like 3 o'clock, but do what you need to do, have fun, it's cool. So if you are into the party scene, then maybe Kabukicho is a good place to meet other Jirai girls. If you're boring like me, then the internet's the best way.
You're not boring. What do you mean? You're wonderful. Don't be mean to yourself.
You're too sweet. Party lifestyle is not for me anymore. I'm old.
I do enjoy a good night out. And I also work in a karaoke bar, so I do live a very like nightlife style, but I don't enjoy drinking as much as I did before, and I do go to bed on normal days at like 12, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those like a nice outing on a Friday or a Saturday is well, not for my schedule, but a weekend is okay. But I have a full-time job, so it's kind of hard to. Again, I don't really want that lifestyle. I did that in college. It was fun, but I'm okay now.
Yeah, exactly. I have a day job during the week and then karaoke on the weekend. So I live my Jirai life on the weekend, and then during the week, I work from home.
Well, I really appreciate both of you taking the time to explain all of these things for me. I find it interesting how this whole thing is sort of like reclaiming the word. I've really learned a lot from this. But before we go, do the both of you have any like last words or things that you would like to promote?
I have a YouTube channel where I talk about some Jirai things and just like my life in Japan and kawaii fashion. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, please follow me on Instagram. Again, it's mainly just my life and Jirai fashion, but it's cool. Please join me. I like talking to everyone. So welcome to the fashion.
Yes, her clothes are very cute. Go follow her. You can also follow me on Instagram. I mostly just post reels of outfits or just outfits. On TikTok, I do more like makeup tutorials, and I'm a little bit more active there than Instagram. I'm just taking a break now, so if you follow me now and you don't get any new content for a while, it's normal. I also have a store, so if you're interested in accessories, I do have my own brand. It's called Cheri, and yeah, I make a lot of like ribbons and stuff like that. So if
Very
you want
cute.
to try,
Yay. Yes, follow these girl bosses. Yay. But yeah, thank you both again so much for this lovely conversation. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching this video. I would also like to say a huge thank you to my patrons. You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/cybr.grl. And I also want to say a huge thank you to Yumechi and Chiara. Thank you both so much for taking the time to talk to me about Jirai Kei. I really learned so much about it. So please check them out. I will put all their links down in the description. But if you have any questions or any suggestions for other styles that I could cover, feel free to leave them down in the comments. But yeah, thank you again, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye! Take care!